All right, y'all, I'm gonna show y'all one of my jigs that I've been having success on lately. I kind of consider it a secret due to I don't think too many guys is tying this, so I felt like for my first video, jig time video on YouTube, I might as well give you guys something good. So with this tie, I'm gonna be doing a custom chenille pumpkin crawl from Woods and Water Outdoor. Okay, I'm gonna be using that chenille along with the mayfly. Both of them are medium. Okay, so what I did was I cut out about 5 inches or so. I'm pretty sure that's too much, but cut out about that much material, and forget what this tool is called. So for this video purpose, we're gonna call it the combiner. You did. So boom, what you do is put that to the side. I just got this ready. We don't need this yet. All right, kind of like to have the things that I need on hand, you know, so I don't have to go rummaging around. If I know I'm gonna tie 3 jigs, I'm gonna have 3 feathers, you know, of each color that I'm gonna tie. So also with this video, we're gonna be using that would be the ginger. Yep, ginger neck hackle along with red neck hackle. And we're gonna be putting a little bit of flash in this jig too. So first thing we're gonna do is, on most of my jigs, I tie in a V, okay? And a V is essentially, for guys that don't know, I'll give you an example of what a V is. It's once you cut the tail of the feather, you cut out V's. And it almost makes like a wing type appearance on your jig. You get like a wing and then a longer tail, okay? But on this particular jig, I'm not gonna tie any V's on it. I kind of look at it like the flash that I'll use will serve the purpose of the V, okay? So on this jig, it's gonna be a 2-tail, okay? Some guys like to cut the tail the length of the jig or twice the length of the jig. Me, I don't. I mean, I just make sure I got a tail. All right, so again, this is where I would put the V if I were to use one, but since I'm not tying any V's, I can go directly into the tail. Now, a lot of guys don't like tying with neck hackle because it could get tricky with getting it to lay flat. You see how it's laying flat there? Getting it to lay flat like that can be tricky. So what I like to do is get it down real loose, get it to where you want it, and then I pinch it back here by the hook point. And as I'm pinching it with this finger, I'm twisting it towards me as I wrap it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. See, like that. And what's happening is when I'm twisting it a little bit towards me, as you're wrapping it that way, it's causing the feather itself to want to go that way. So if you counteract and go against it, it'll kind of hold it in place. I found that too. It don't work all the time, but sometimes I find that works. You dig? So boom, we got the first tail. Now I'm gonna want some flash in between 2 tails. Now the particular flash that I'm using, I took it out the package, so I don't know the name. Okay, but when the light hits it, some angles it looks gold, some angles it looks purple, some angles it looks green, you know. So I think this will work out well. In the previous jig that I tied with this, it was with gold flash, so we're gonna try something new. And it doesn't take a lot of flash. Some guys will say that this is too much, you know, but with these particular jig that I've been tying, I noticed they've been liking it with more flash. But there goes 3 strands. So what you want to do is I grab the strands and come around, okay? Now, to where if you want these strands to be evenly dispersed, what I like to do is make sure as I'm twisting it that they're on both sides of the shaft of the hook, okay? So if there's 3 strands, I might have one on this side and 2 on that side, okay? You want your strands to run perpendicular with the shaft of this hook on both sides. To me, it just makes a prettier jig, okay? Evens everything up. Now, I'm gonna cut that right before the end of the hackle. Now, if you noticed, when I cinched down, when I cinched down on that flash, it twisted my hackle. So that tells me that I didn't have my hackle tight enough in the beginning. So what I'll do in this situation, I'll try to get it back, you know, flat. But if it comes out like this, they're still gonna hit. All right, that crappie ain't gonna swim up to that jig and be like, oh, the tail is slightly crooked. Now, you do want everything straight. You know, you don't want your jig like this and then the head like that. You know, you get what I mean? But if your tail itself is crooked, but it's still in line with the jig, I don't see it being a big issue. All right, so it's about how, say about 2 inch, a 2 inch tail. It'll probably hang about a 1.25 inches. So now that that other hackle is kind of like going to the side, I can kind of make it a two-tone effect. You know, that jig will be like a two-tone tail now. As for initially, I wanted to layer them, but if that original hackle went to the side, you might as well make that other hackle go to the side too, and have your flash in the middle. You know, it'll give it kind of like that, I don't know, wing look. You know, the thing about, excuse me, the thing about tying up your own jigs, you know, you get to experiment, see what works. Like that is not how I wanted it to look, but it's gonna work, you know. So basically what we got going now is we got the ginger on one side and we got the red on one side. And like I said, originally I wanted them to stack. So when you get into problems like this, don't get frustrated, you know, just go with it. You know, keep tying and keep tying. And eventually, you know, like for an example, you'll get what you're looking for. All right. That first jig. Now this is essentially the same jig that we're tying. Now you see how those tails look? Okay? They're not, they didn't roll over, okay? They're stacked. As to this jig, the hackle rolled on me. So instead of fighting it, I'm gonna go with it. You know, I'm gonna just go with it. So there's that. And then now I have two different styles with the same cinch tie. You know, I have two jigs layered, two tail layered, and two tails spread it out. You know, and some days that can make a difference because some guys say colors don't matter, presentation do. And I guarantee you, by it looking that way and that one looking that way, those are two totally different presentations in the water. All right, enough rambling. So now that we have that, we're gonna go into our body, okay? I forgot what this is called, so we're gonna call it the combiner, you dig? All right, boom. So all I did was just pinched it on, and I'm gonna come down here. I'm not gonna come all the way up there with the beginning of my material, and I'll explain why in a minute. Let's move that out your way so you can see. Okay, so I stopped right at the hook point, okay? Hopefully you guys can see this. All right. Now, once you got your material on, you want to get your bobbin cradle, sit that there. Get this clamped back on. All right. and just give it a whirl. And what that's doing is combining the two chenelles. See if I can't get you guys a better look. See what that's doing? It's just combining the two chenelles. Got a little red going on in there, a little green. Now you guys can see how that's how I don't want my hackles usually to be, but when they roll over like that with a double tail, I'll just make them look like a wing, like wings. So once you get this attached, you just twist it, and the tighter you twist it, the more they combine, the more tighter the material is. All right, this jig is just about done. Get it good and cinched. Now I'm slightly overlapping as I rotate my device. And you can kind of look at it. I'm gonna come back. If you don't like the way it looks, you can always unwind it. And what you want to do is hold everything very tight. I mean, as tight as you can get it. As you can look, you can see that jig is bowing in the device. All right, so now you're gonna come on over, wrap once, twice, hold it that way, wrap once, twice, and then I usually do one more for good riddance, and then snug it down. Just want to get everything good and snug. Helps to get some good scissors. These here are some Dr. Slick. Very, very sharp scissors. Very, very sharp point. Needle point, they call it. Alright, so now we're going to come in with the whip finisher tool. I have plenty of videos on YouTube on how to use this, so I'm not going to go into details on how to use it, but we're going to whip finish it twice. And a lot of guys, I like to go around 5 times, but a lot of guys, they use glue, hard as nails, and there's a bunch of other brands. But me, I try glue, but when I go and open up my box and you got 100 and something jigs, okay, it's the problem that I don't like with glue. All right, when you're making a big boy box like this, and to each row it's 30 something jigs. Now you imagine all of those jigs that got glue on it. When you open up your box, it'll smell like a mini nail salon. So to me, I'm like, the fish can't like that. If we're putting crappie niblets on to attract them with the scent and all that, it's like, why would I be using a strong scented glue? That's just me. But so what I do is whip finish it twice, and seems to hold up. You just make sure I pull it in good and tight, and voila, there you have it. I don't name my jigs, but let me put this to get a good look at it. So it's got some brown going on, some green, red, and I tied that on a 1/16 ounce pill head sickle hook. And I get all my jig heads. Guthrie Tackle, it's a good guy, check him out. Well, I hope that gives you guys some ideas if you're tying. And if you don't tie and you're thinking about doing it, I highly suggest, because you can go into a box and pick out whatever your heart desires, whatever you can think of. Hey, right on for checking out the video, you guys. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff you do on YouTube. My name is Samuel from No Slack Outdoors. Stay tuned. I'll be having more videos, more jig time videos, catch cleans and cooks, camping, everything fishing related. That's basically what I'm all about. And I am a crappie guy, if you can't tell. Yeah. Have a good one, guys.